What up, reader fam? Today I am bringing you one of my books I've read recently videos. I'm not sure why my body went into this position, but okay. This is a video series that I do on my channel where I talk about some books that I don't have that much to say about. I tell you what the book's about, then I give you my brief thoughts on them. So without further ado, let's get started. First up, let's talk about One of the Boys. This is a realistic fiction story about these two boys who endure child abuse. There is a major trigger warning with this book for child abuse and drug abuse. This book is very detailed in both of those things, so make note of that before picking up this book. This one was a really tough one to read. It's a rather short book and I thought that I would just fly right through it, but the contents of the story are so graphic and horrific that it took quite a bit of time for me to get through it and digest it. The characters just felt so helpless. They're in this situation that they just feel like they cannot get out of, and so they kind of just go through the motions and endure that situation and hope for the best. It was a really hard one to read, but I'm also so glad that I read this book. It really opened up my eyes to something that people are facing right now. And I really think the author did a great job of handling the subject matter. I feel like he did it in a really respectful way. This is definitely not a book where I finished it and I was like, woohoo, that was a wild ride. It was more of a, I finished this book, now I'm gonna take a second to let all of this sink in. All in all, I gave this book a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Now on to a more lighthearted book, and that is Bull. This is one that I went into not expecting to like at all, but then I freaking loved it. This is basically the story of Theseus and Minotaur written in verse. I don't have much to say about this one other than the fact that it is hilarious. It did contain one of my pet peeves where it just has one-word pages, and that got on my nerves a little bit. I'm just gonna look past that because I loved this book. One of the author blurbs on the back put this perfectly. It says, David Elliot's Bull does for mythology what Lin-Manuel Miranda's Hamilton has done for US history, and I could not agree more with that. I gave this a 4.5 out of 5 stars, and you might be wondering why I didn't give this a full 5 out of 5 stars, and that's because I reserve 5 stars for my all-time favorite books, and this book just didn't hit that all-time favorite note. Next up, I read Compass South, which is the first book in a new middle grade graphic novel series. It takes place in 1860, and we follow these two twins, Cleopatra and Alexander. The twins get caught up in this gang. After getting involved in a crime and being caught by the cops, they sell out the gang to the cops, which if you do that, you pretty much have screwed yourself over with the gang. Like, they're gonna hunt you down. So the twins have to run away and change their identities, but obviously that doesn't work. They're followed by one of the gang members and they have to kind of deal with the consequences. So first off, just the art style alone, I loved the art style. I loved the different colors that they used for this graphic novel. It just worked so well. I loved both the character designs and the backdrops, and the story itself was super fun and adventurous. It has a focus on family and friendship, which are two big selling points for me when it comes to stories. It goes over things like the lengths you'll go for a family member and the power of friendship, which are two things that just hit me right in the feels. And I also really loved the historical aspect as well. I loved being in that 1860. I loved being in this time period in this story. I think what really won me over for this story was the characters. Sometimes I feel like in graphic novels, because the story and pictures work together to build the story, the authors can sometimes rely on the pictures to kind of depict personalities, but I really felt like there was a happy medium with this story. The dialogue really pulled its weight and brought out just as much personality as the pictures were doing. All in all, I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. Next up, I have We Are Okay by Nina LaCour. I think that's how you say it. Nina LaCour. Kind of rolls off the tongue. Nina LaCour. This story is about a girl named Marin who faced a tragic event in her life, and she left it all behind when she moved away for college. Now she's left to confront her feelings when her ex-girlfriend comes to visit her at college. This was unfortunately one of those scenarios where the book cover was better than the actual story. It's such a beautiful cover and it kind of let me down. I liked it enough to keep reading till the end, but overall the story was really flat to me. And I think a big part of this is because you really only get to see one side of our main character. You really only get to see the side of her who has faced this tragedy in her life. You don't get to see any other aspect of her personality. And I just wish we could have seen more from her character because I feel like she would have been a more fleshed out character and I maybe would have cared more for the story. So that's really my main beef with this book. There were a few things that I did like with this story, specifically how it discusses the topic of grief. That was spot on with this book. And another thing that I surprisingly really liked about this story was just kind of how simple it was. was. The plot wasn't overly complicated at all, it was very slice of life, and it's a book where we are really just kind of uncovering what this character has been through, and I really liked that it was just very simple and not super high maintenance. All in all, I gave this book a 3 out of 5 stars. And the last book that I'm going to mention is Everyone's an Alien When You're an Alien Too. This is a graphic novel style book about this alien who is sent to Earth to kind of research Earth. Our main character, Alien, has never really felt like he belongs with the other aliens, and when he gets to Earth, he kind of starts to find himself and feel more accepted there. This is the one that I have the least to say about in this video, but I loved this book so much. It was just so delightful, and I wasn't expecting to like it as much as I did. While the story itself is rather humorous, it's a lot of fun seeing our alien kind of interact with Earth and discover different things about it. It also packs in and covers a lot of really interesting topics. My favorite topic that's explored in this book is acceptance. It just talks about it in a really relatable way, and I just really liked that. All in all, I gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars. I do consider this now to be one of my favorite books. So those are some of the books that I have read recently and just some quick thoughts on those books. You guys should let me know down below if you have read any of the books that I mentioned in today's video and what you thought of them, or just let me know down below a book that you've read recently that you really loved. Let me know all your thoughts down below in the comments. If you like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. I post videos frequently on this channel, so if you want to be notified as to when I post new videos, be sure to go and hit subscribe, or go and click the little bell icon and you'll be notified as to when I post new videos. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you soon with a new video. Bye, choo.